What's up everyone, this is Gates Samaniego, and for today's class tutorial we're going to talk about a myofascial release technique that should help with low back pain. So we haven't gotten too much into using the little lacrosse ball, but hopefully most of you have gotten it by now. We have the little ball, the medium ball, and the big ball of course, and the Theracane. I'll show you a little bit with the Theracane also, but for this technique we're going to be going to a myofascial release point that's on the anterior portion of the thigh, the front portion of the thigh. It's if you feel your hip bone right here and go about 1 inch lower than the hip bone, we'll be placing the ball about right here. And this is a point in the body where three major thigh muscles intersect with one another. The tensor fasciolata, the rectus femoris that runs up and down the front portion of the thigh, and the sartorius. So that point is a major hindrance because we sit in a seated position so long. What happens is this portion of the thigh gets really gunked up and not hydrated. And so what we have to do is to get in there and really break up those tissues, because it's direct contradiction with hip extension. And so instead of getting that good hip extension when we're walking and going from here to here, what ends up happening is people skip the middle phase because their glutes are so asleep and deactivated that we just end up going into this anterior pelvic shift, laying down into our lumbar, and hip hyperextension. So we go from a good step here to here, and you might notice that in yourself, or if you're watching other truck drivers. So I wanted to be outside the truck at first so that I could just sort of show you what we're doing here. And I've got a picture that I want to show you. This is just in one of our textbooks, but again, so this is the pelvis here. Yeah, that's better. Better there? Okay, so if Lenore can get this now, it's, see the hip, I'm talking about this hip bone here, it's called the ASIS, and we'll go, like I said, about 1 inch lower, and you'll see here that this tensor fasciolata, which is another great place to do a myofascial release, this sartorius muscle, and then this rectus femoris, which is the main muscle that we've been hitting the entire 2 weeks that we did the first few classes. So we're going to aim to press right about right here to release all those muscles that play a large role in anybody who has hip problems or low back problems. A lot of it's going to be due to this place, being adapted and gunked up and not hydrated and not fluid, and these muscles not being able to move and do what they need to do in connection with the glutes on the back side. So let's hop into the truck and we'll get to it. All right, I forgot that I'm gonna have to take my shoes off because I don't bring my shoes back here. And I didn't think that through when I started my class outside. So the other part about doing these myofascial release techniques as we start to move to smaller size balls to really pinpoint is that on the bed in these places, obviously we get the sinking in of the mattress, and that can cause you to just not really get a good release because it doesn't press up against you. But so what I've found is I have just this little piece of cardboard that plywood, I think it is, you can just get it at Home Depot or whatever, and it's easy to tuck in behind the seat or wherever you need to store it. I actually use it to keep my books from moving around on the top bunk, and I'm able to just pull it down when I need to. I lay it out on the bed here, and again, we're just finding that spot below the ASIS, coming down about 1 inch. I move the board underneath it, and that allows the ball to stay up and not sink into the mattress so much, and we just lay down directly. You're going to aim to keep the pelvis flat, so when you do the myofascial release technique for like the tensor fasciolata, you'll end up kind of moving to the side to get that, but that's not what we want for this one. We want to hit that middle portion, so we'll stay flat. And that's really it. I mean, sometimes the best thing you can do is just nothing. Let gravity and the lacrosse ball do its work. Usually stay here like we have been doing for about 2 to 3 minutes. And yeah, just let the pressure get into those spaces and release those major muscle groups. And this should definitely help relieve your low back pain from sitting. Do this, you know, once a day for a couple days. You might start to feel, because of the rectus femoris, you could, if you really get down in there, really start to push down, you know, apply downward pressure in that one location, and you might feel that it's pulling even on your kneecap, and that's because of that rectus femoris connecting all the way down. So just pay attention, you know, flip over and do the other side, and make sure that you know, doing this and you have a lot of soreness the next day, to, like, you know, take some time off, let it heal, and then get back to it, and make sure that you're hydrating and drinking a ton of water, because obviously you need the water in your body to rehydrate those tissues. So the other thing that, if you do have the Theracane, that you can do, if you don't have the board or the small ball, you can use the big ball to get into that larger place. It'll just, you won't be as pinpointed, but you can obviously lay down and do the same thing. Find that mark and then press down. It's just a little bit more difficult to try to get leverage on yourself and really have to use your muscles to press deep down into these tissues, but it's possible. This is just another way that you can do it. You can even use your fingers and really press down and do self-massage. But I would suggest trying to do it with your legs extended and not in a seated position, because we're tensing up those muscles. And what we need is for them to elongate so that we can really get down into the grain of the muscle and into that deep fascia tissue. So that's it for today. I hope that you found this informative and enjoyable. So get to that and get out of pain. So everybody stay motivated, and we'll see you next time.